Hi, my name's Nick Jennison and I've got a question for you. Have you ever bought a pedal hoping that it's going to turn your sound from this into this? But when you get it home and plug it in, instead it takes your sound from this and turns it into this. So what gives? Was that a different pedal or was it a different amp or what? Well, no, it was the same guitar, same amp, same settings on the amp, the same pedal, which is this Marshall Blues Breaker, which is actually quite an affordable pedal. It's a reissue of a classic overdrive, very easily accessible, nothing fancy going on here, right? This is a pedal that you can easily get your hands on, but any overdrive pedal is likely to respond the same. We used two different settings on this pedal. On one, we had the gain high and the volume set a little lower, and on the other, we had the gain set to a moderate level and the volume cranked up. Now, the interesting thing with this is the way you set this pedal is going to be dependent on the type of amplifier that you're using. If you're using an amp with a cleaner sound and maybe more of a mid-range scoop and a little less compression, like a Fender type amplifier, you're going to set this pedal up differently to if you're running into a Marshall style amplifier, which has more distortion, more compression, and more of a mid-range forward profile. Let me give you a quick tip on how you might set this pedal up for this kind of amp. Let's take a listen to that second example where we have the gain set high and the volume set to a reasonable kind of level. It just kind of sounds like mush. Let's take a listen. You can hear our tone just get smaller there, which is something that a lot of people have told me they experience when they take one of these new hotness type overdrive pedals, plug it into their amp and wonder why their tone just kind of goes away. So maybe we'll turn the volume up to compensate. Let's take a listen. And it's better, but now it's a lot more overdriven, a lot more sizzly and fizzy than maybe we want. So what I'm going to suggest is instead of doing that, we're going to do something kind of counterintuitive. And to get a little bit of extra gain out of our amp, we're going to begin by setting our gain at a moderate level and cranking the volume on our overdrive. And from here, we're going to turn the gain up to taste and we're going to get it just to the point where it's adding a little bit of extra distortion, a little bit of extra compression, but it's not completely destroying the character of our original tone. Let's take a listen. So there's a big difference between those two settings, and all we really did was change the way we set up the pedal, and the pedal is very simple. You can see there's only 3 controls here. We used the same guitar, the same amp, but we got very different results both in terms of feel and in terms of sound. In the second example, our sound was so much bigger and fuller, and probably the sound that we're actually after with this particular combination, as opposed to the first time when we turned our gain up and we ended up with just mush, something uninspiring. It's definitely not going to work in a band situation, and it's not the kind of sounds that you hear the guitar players that you love using. Now, if you'd like to know more about how you take basic gear like this, nothing kind of too crazy or too esoteric, very common gear that we all have access to, and set it up to sound the absolute best that it can, you can join me on my Guitar Tone Secrets Masterclass on April the 2nd. But that's not all. We're also going to be discussing how you can use the most important tools of all, which are your hands, to produce better tone with the gear you already have. So if you want to sound like the guitar players that you love, or you want to discover your own voice in the guitar, make everything that you play sound better, you can join me on April the 2nd. Hit the link down below to find out more. Spaces on this masterclass are strictly limited and we are almost sold out, so you're going to want to act quick. Link is down there. It's April the 2nd. My name's Nick Jennison. I'll see you there.